Morning, glory, evening, grace, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt from Studio West on this, the first full day of the golden age of America. I'm joined by Bret Baier, host of Special Report, which you can watch every night, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. on the Fox News Channel. Last night, Bret was out at the balls. I was watching balls as the Ohio State Buckeyes, beloved of every Buckeye in the land, won the national championship. Bret, did you sneak a peek at your phone during the balls?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I only went to a couple of events, and I definitely was watching the score. And congratulations to your Buckeyes.
It was a wonderful game, and the Irish fought on all the way to the end. Bret, I was curious to ask you, not about any of the big headlines. There are a lot of headlines, but 48 hours before the inauguration, everything changes. It goes indoors. What happened? I mean, take us behind the scenes of what happens when that happens. Because then they went to the Capital One Center to do a rally for an additional 25 to 30,000 people who couldn't get into the visitor center or the rotunda. Did you have to scramble all the jets and figure it out all over again?
Yeah, I mean, we had to reposition people. We had to figure out how to get from point A to point B. How the pool cameras are going to work. Yeah, there was a lot of logistics, but the overall coverage of it was basically the same. Martha and I, in a set that was created looking over the Capitol, and it was. I think we did 6 hours and then 7 hours with Special Report, and we had a blockbuster day. I think it's going to end up being the second most watched cable news event in history.
Oh my goodness! I think it was a day full of news, and the news just keeps coming. I am interested what you'll lead Special Report with tonight. Is it going to be the J6 pardons? Is it going to be the terror attack in Tel Aviv? Is it going to be something else that has happened that I'm only dimly... I mean, what do you pick? Pick from any of these things?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I think the reaction to the J6 pardons obviously is still filtering in. There will be a press conference here with this announcement shortly at the White House about a public-private operation with OpenAI and Larry Ellison and trying to create this data center massive investment that the president's going to talk about. And I assume there's going to be some questions there that also could create news. So whatever it is, it's going to come out of the White House. And I'm going to anchor the show from the White House since it's the first full day of the Trump administration part 2. So I'll be on the north lawn of the White House, and then I'll have an interview with the businessmen, the OpenAI and Larry Ellison and others there on the driveway of the north lawn.
No, it's a very interesting. OpenAI is actually going to change, or AI generally is going to change all of our lives a lot more than the pardons of the J6 folks. And I have discussed those at length already. Wouldn't have advised him to commute the seditious conspiracy people, would have advised him to commute a whole bunch of the people who've served their time or pardon some who were wandering around the Capitol. But how long do you think this will remain a story, Bret Baier?
Well, I think that, Hugh, it's like drinking from a fire hose. And so the fire hose keeps on putting out more news. And I think that it's not going to be that big of a story. He dealt with it last night in that essential press conference as he was signing executive orders in the Oval Office, saying that most of these people have served 3 years, and it is a political tough thing to swallow for some of the Republicans who are adamant that it should be a case-by-case basis and it shouldn't be across the board in a blanket deal. But I do think that it will move on, and the news will continue to move.
Bret, how do you, being a former Pentagon correspondent, how do you understand what the president said about the Panama Canal yesterday?
Well, I think, he said it more blatantly than he's said it. We need to take that back, I think, is the words he used. And, Panama was quick to put out a statement. Taking it back obviously has implications about, our use of force. And I don't think it comes to that. I think it's a negotiation, and one in which negotiator Donald Trump goes to business on putting pressure on Panama.
Yeah, I don't really think he's talking about a George H.W. Bush invasion of Panama so much as he's saying we want the Chinese communists out of the control of any facility bordering the canal. And that's a good place to end up with this. Do you think that's what's really going on here, that was a message of Xi not at whoever is running the Panama Canal?
I do think that. I think this is all about China, actually. I think Panama's about China. I think Greenland is about China. Not only rare earth minerals, but also passageways. I think it is about countering China's influence, and this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest foreign policy battles that happened during the Trump administration is the relationship with China, and do we come, head to head with them in a number of different ways.
Yeah, I think the tariffs are about China as well, Bret. Last question. How are you going to ever cover tariffs? I run from it like Superman from kryptonite. I don't want to deal with tariffs. They're boring, they're complicated, they're difficult to deal with. How are you going to cover that?
Well, I'm going to cover the economic impact and also the power of the negotiating tool. I think, there's all kinds of people who have weighed in. Jamie Dimon has said he understands it to be Trump's, negotiating tool of choice, and he thinks it will move the needle on a number of things. Look, it's already changed Canada, and I think that there's a lot of fear that it's actually coming down the pike. And what does that mean in foreign policy and other things? And then the back end is, how does it affect Americans in their pocketbook or at their kitchen table budget? So, all sides of that.
Godspeed to the North Lawn, and I hope you have a heater for your feet, Bret Baier. We'll be watching Special Report tonight. Going to be a little chilly out there on the set tonight, but good on you. Thank you, Bret.